Recognize.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning to my colleagues. Good morning to the staff of the legislature. Good morning to those in the chambers and to those listening and viewing. Mr. President, this morning I am reminded of my visits to the Seaview Nursing Home and meeting some of the residents there. And one woman in particular who looked at me and she asked the question, what will happen to my home? And again, as I reflect on her question, it reminds me always about trying to do the right thing. And so I am going to support this measure regarding Seaview. I commend Senator Gittens for bringing it, and I'm going to be joining it as a co-sponsor. And I think what I want to remember is part of the reason that Seaview is in the place that it is because of the failure of our government to meet its obligations to it. And so I am not at all hesitant to support the measure. Now, with regard to the other measures, I'm not going to support bill number 31-0508, which is an act relating to the emergency services surcharge. And I was very pleased when the measure did not move out of the Rules Committee, and I was surprised when it came back to us yesterday. Now, to some of us, it's $1. But we ought to remember that there are government employees in particular, if we look at that, just that group, who struggle from day to day, who had the option of going to the government employees retirement system and borrowing money against their money to meet their responsibilities, and that has been taken away from them. So when we look at the increase, to know that it's going to apply to every cell phone, it also can apply to voice over, internet protocols, Skype, and Vonage, as the director of the PSC testified. And I know that you all are going to come to me with a question and say, yes, we need the money to fund the emergency services that it supports. And you're going to say, if you're not going to put that there, then find a source to put it. Well, I say the same thing to you, because when we get down to bill number 496, we're going to find all kinds of amendments that are going to come with 500,000 to do this and 100,000 to do that, et cetera, et cetera. And so I challenge the same way I think that we could find the resources to support some of the projects that we want to move forward is the same way we could have responded to that without putting another tax on the people of the Virgin Islands. I was very disappointed that it came back, and it is anybody's privilege to bring a measure, and you have enough people to support it, well, all power to you. But I remember coming into the supermarket and having people thank me for a simple measure as that, to say, yeah, I'm glad the legislature didn't pursue it. So I'm not going to support it. Of course, I'm going to support the measure with regard to continuing the insurance, particularly in this case, I think, as it applies to our retirees. I don't believe that the UN resolution, any more than the Centennial Commission, is going to get us to pay any more attention to the needs of our culture and all the things we need to be doing at this present time. But to me, it's harmless. So I'm going to vote for it, as
1 minute,
I did
30
yesterday.
seconds.
And as we look at the situation regarding the Wang Louis Hospital, again, we talk about the hospitals coming before us and just repeatedly making requests for funding. However, public health is our responsibility, and we have the responsibility to support the facilities that ultimately might be responsible for providing the emergency services that we need, even though there are those of us who could jump on the plane and go to the Cleveland Center, wherever people go. So I will be supporting that, and I will support Senator Leibert's bill to increase the tourism offerings in St. John, in particular in this instance, and the remaining measure with regard to
30 seconds.
499, whichever one that is. Thank you, Mr. President.